Hi there, my name is Flora-May, and this is a podcast episode that explores the question, are crops political? I'm going to be giving you an introduction to the environmental philosopher Vandana Shiva and the land back movement in Canada to find out the answer to our question. Vandana Shiva is one of the world's most prominent voices on the environment, women's rights, and sustainability. Shiva's writing offers a world full of joy, balance, and equality while dismantling overconsumption. In Shiva's essay titled The Gendered Politics of Food, she opens by stating that Earth is already in its dying age. Land that is able to support life is destroyed by processes such as inappropriate land use and decreasing genetic diversity in crops. Both historically and ethically, science and development projects are those of Western, white, male ideologies. These ideologies and biases are rooted in the male-created European Industrial Revolution and the patriarchal capitalism that followed, that we're living in today. Modern science allowed for the exclusive and academically justifiable exploitation of resources for commodity production, or the concept of owning crops and land. Emerging from this is an Indian feminist ideology of Shiva's that links the liberation of the natural world and people's freedom from the experience of marginalization. Although coined as a feminist movement, Shiva argues that the change the women of India are really fighting for is distinctly non-gendered in nature. She did this to contrast the gendered, patriarchal ecological destruction of right now. Shiva's philosophy is that of the perspectives of women living in the third world are necessary to end both ecological destruction and the marginalization of women around the world. Small farms creating diverse and nourished crops are now transformed to production-oriented, genetically engineered, and monocultural lands. Monocultural meaning producing only one type of crop. This is dangerous to the sustainability of the farming land. 70% of the world's population earn their livelihood through food production, and it's no surprise to Shiva that the majority of this demographic are women. So, if farmers want to survive, they have no freedom to choose what they grow, and furthermore, we as consumers are limited in choice of what we purchase, eat, and support. Global markets will always stay sustained as they own and trade exactly the crops they want, leaving farmers, women, and the poor robbed from their freedom of choice. Shiva backs a philosophy called Earth Democracy. Earth Democracy will listen and represent those who have not contributed to the current climate crisis. Earth Democracy wants to give control back to those marginalized identities. Earth Democracy embodies Shiva's will to change our planet from our communities onwards. It calls for enriching our lives with food from local farmers, new ways to design the buildings around us, and new ways to shop. There is lots to learn from those who already must live lightly, those being workers that are treated as replaceable, who carry the knowledge of their communities, cultures, family values, and the strength that is needed to change humanity. These are the groups Shiva say are necessary to end ecological destruction. Now moving closer to home for myself. How can we compare Shiva's philosophies to what's happening in Canada right now with our Indigenous peoples? Here's a quick history behind what we call the land back movement. Settlement by Europeans began on the east coast of Canada. As settlement spread to the south and west of Canada, Europeans aggressively looted and claimed lands from Indigenous peoples. Over time, greatly outnumbering them, forcing their displacement and further impoverishing them. Settler colonialism is not only the term we use when referring to this history, it's a term that identifies our ongoing trauma today. Creating a struggle between Indigenous population who want to protect the land and settlers who want to use and exploit the land, Indigenous peoples were quickly pushed from their territories and, in many cases across Canada, forced into reservations. Treaties, which are written agreements signed by both parties, were the only possible way for settlers to take control over territory, through contracts. For the British Crown, treaties secured the benefits of agricultural land and mineral resources. Land came under ownership for the first time in Canada. These treaties have long been debated by historians and elders alike, and so the land back movement is just one milestone in a timeline of protests. Briar Patch Magazine's editorial collective writes beautifully. When we say land back, we aren't asking for just the ground or for a piece of paper that allows us to tear it up and pollute the earth. We want our place in keeping land alive, healthy, and spiritually connected. Briar Patch Mag. Getting our land back is a necessary end goal that means protecting land against resource extraction, pipelines, overfishing, overhunting. It means protecting bodies against violence, food and housing insecurity, and settler institutions. Land back means paying reparations to our local land protectors, revolutionaries, and grassroots organizations. Land back is actionable, and it's being implemented right now in many ways by Indigenous activists and allies alike who want to keep our planet safe. Idle No More's One House, Many Nations project raises awareness about housing conditions in addition to providing homes. In 2019, they won the Indigenous Innovation Challenge, which connected them to their current partners who install sustainable forms of energy into these homes. And there are so many projects like this happening right now. Land back is a powerful slogan that carries hundreds of years of Indigenous resistance across communities. The land back movement aligns perfectly with Vandana Shiva's call to action to give control and autonomy back to the women and Indigenous peoples of our lands. We need them if we're ever going to put an end to ecological destruction. And this has been Why Your Crops Are Political. References are available in the video description below, and the full podcast script, as well as these references, are also available in PDF form. So thank you for listening.